They're fast and furious. They're coming in.
Yeah, mine are done, I promise. Like, I don't have any more.
Colette made great progress converting that to a more user-friendly FAQ, so we'll have no trouble getting that up.
Are those FAQs going to be combined with anything that comes out of the budget roundtables? Or are they gonna be
Yes.
separate? Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, we're trying to make just one document. I think we got a question in today from a resident. So it's not just the roundtables, but like if we're getting
Yep.
stuff over email, like you guys get them too.
Yeah, I'm just curious, who among council or see if we put those public emails?
I think it was April, because we got an email today and it just came to me, April and Ken.
Okay.
To the finance committee, and I think she just copied and pasted them in there.
So we do have one person in the audience online.
Can they hear us right now?
You should be able to. If Ms. LeBlanc would like to ask a question, you're more than welcome to. Just put up your hand and we can bring you in, or if you're just here to listen, you're welcome to tune in.
Mhm. Right now, you're our only participant, so we hope you have a question, or it would be helpful for us to give you an overview. We're happy to do that as well.
When's your next Monday's meeting?
So our schedule, we have the next one on Monday, and I believe Mondays is looking at general government. And then a week from there on Tuesday, I think that's when we're doing the school board and the police department and public safety. And the week after that is when we do the CIP. So a lot of meetings over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty busy.
Mhm. You guys don't do any meetings, like any other budget related meetings, or just your normal finance committee?
Get together. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Something to come back to. We have our public hearing next
Yeah.
week.
Do you guys, last year, did you guys get a good turnout for your public hearing, or was it pretty quiet? I know for us, when we had ours, it was, I think we just had one. Yeah,
Everything was pretty quiet last year.
I just anticipate this year is gonna be similar. Like,
So far. it has been.
yeah, that's my guess at this point, but at least we're giving people the opportunity, if they want to participate, to participate, so.
Joanne, if you have a question, you're more than welcome to raise your hand and we can bring you in. So there's two.
Two names?
Same.
Oh, might be a
Log in twice.
connectivity.
Yeah.
Watching on YouTube, let's see.
We're good about what you guys are.
Oh, we did, I didn't.
Well,
Oh, that's good. There was only, I think, one person who came through Zoom. It was pretty, like, at least in terms of zooming in, it was, yeah. I believe she was on the library board of trustees, so that was like, she participated.
I was one of your viewers
Oh,
yesterday.
you were one of the 20?
Yes, I was.
I might have
But I've
checked
only
it.
gotten halfway through the meeting. I have to finish the rest of it tonight.
It was a good meeting. We were supposed to go yesterday until 7, right? April thought we were supposed to end it.
I think it was 6. wasn't
Yeah, it
it?
was scheduled for 6, but
Oh.
that's not a problem.
I thought it was scheduled for 7. That's why I
We
was
didn't, we
like,
didn't get to, I mean, it took us past an hour to get through Sedco and.
Yeah,
library,
it's a
so
lot. It's a lot of
community
warmed up.
services, public services, larger budgets.
I think I was looking at this schedule, because in this schedule, which I know has
Says till 7.
changed, it says it said till 7, so I just assumed we're going till 7. Yeah, and this one, it said till 7. So maybe we can just say to Joanne, you are in the budget roundtable meeting, and again, we're here to answer any questions or capture any questions. So if there's anything that you want to share or ask, you could raise your hand and we'll bring you into the room so that you can ask the question. Otherwise, we'll just sit here for a while and see if other people show up and have any questions that they might want to ask. I'm John Anderson. I'm on the town council.
I'm Kristen Turner, I'm on the school board.
Jenna Leon, I'm also on the school board.
Don Hamel on town council.
And then in the room, we also have the town manager and the assistant town manager. So you have a full party here to answer
Have
any
our
questions. Yeah, you have our attention. If you even just want to say hello, that's fine too.
Suspect everyone is gearing up for the Celtics game, playoff game tonight.
Oh, that too? Yeah, school vacation, that, just a regular weekday. I think it's
The sun's out for the first time. in
beautiful
forever.
today. Today's beautiful.
Could be it.
Mhm.
Was it warm out?
It was nice.
Windy.
Yeah.
Not as bad as yesterday. Yesterday was really bad.
It's
Our basketball hoop flew over. And the rim got busted, so I need to fix that.
how old are your kids?
7 and 9.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yours-
really that
yours
old.
are-
One 5-year-old.
Is that kindergarten or not yet?
Yeah. So how's work going for you? Is it?
I'm in a new role, which is great. I enjoy it, but like we were talking about earlier, anytime you get a new role, you're like drinking from the fire hose and you think you know what you're doing until you realize you have no clue what you're doing, but it's
So
great.
what's the role? High level?
It's an operations role, so essentially I'm the head of operations for global medical, so basically just it's a new organization that just formed and I'm kind of the process project guy trying to get everything moving, but yeah.
Is it still within?
Yep,
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Great. Does it an international component? to
it does. I'm actually traveling to Rome and Barcelona in the
Ah,
next few weeks. Yeah.
Horrible. So
Well,
sorry.
I will say I'm like really anxious about like traveling because usually my wife handles all the travel
Oh, yeah.
stuff and I have to figure out.
Just wake up on the plane. Yeah.
Well, I know. It's still so confusing. Like with COVID, like do you have to do a test beforehand? Because when you go to the government websites, it's
Yeah.
unclear. Like they'll say updated on this date, but you don't need a test. But you need a test, and so you're like, I'm just like, I don't know what I need to do to travel. I know April, she recently traveled. She
Yeah.
had to get one to come back into the States. So I think it's still required to come back.
It depends where you're flying to. They
Yeah.
may or may not require it coming in.
When are you
Listen to me,
going?
Mr. International Traveler who doesn't leave.
Yeah. I have to go to Rome next week, and then I go to Barcelona in May, I think.
Somebody who's in Spain right now.
Oh, yeah.
Chat to them.
Yeah.
Chat with them in like 10 days when they're back.
Yeah. So this is like, I mean, it's really because I think it's just opened up and everybody's trying to get back together, but I'm so used to sitting at my chair at home or sitting here in a chair.
Yeah.
It's like going far away is like scary.
That's exciting.
Are you gonna
Yes.
get to do like touristy stuff when you're there?
I
or
don't
just
think
work?
so. It's gonna be a really quick, both will be really quick work trips. It's, if it was further out and we could plan ahead, I probably would see if my wife could come out, but like they both got scheduled pretty, like, I didn't know I was going until like 2 weeks relatively new.
You could have a choice.
Yeah.
Some of those sites.
I hope so. I've never been to either place.
Been to Spain before. I would do it too.
Oh, yeah. Have you been there before?
I lived in, well, I studied in Madrid when I was in college.
Mm.
And then the last time I was in Barcelona was probably.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I used to be able to.
Yeah.
Up with it.
I learned Spanish in high school, so I feel like,
From Catalonian?
No.
Or, okay,
No.
just rather know.
yeah. Any other people? No. So we'll probably, maybe we'll just plan to stay till 7, and if nobody shows up, then,
There are 3 other opportunities.
yeah.
They can, of course, always send their questions via email.
Yep.
To counselors or staff.
Maybe, not that you can speak on behalf of the Board of Education, but maybe we should just take the opportunity to chat about our joint workshop and what the expectations are. So it's been kind of all over the place in terms of how the respective boards have wanted to handle that night. So there's no right or wrong. It's really the preference of all of you. Yes, have any thoughts in that regard?
We didn't do it last year, right? And I can't,
Lisa?
but we didn't do it last year. I'm trying to think of what first year. It would have all been. on Zoom. That was right when COVID started.
Prior to COVID, we did do a couple of in person, and more often than not, there was a big investment or two, if you will, on the school side that counselors were interested in. We did kind of a deep dive on that.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if anything kind of rises to that level. It's interesting that I think there's been only 3 or 4 questions, school-related budget questions. So it may be that folks just haven't had time to start digging in yet.
Yeah. Do you recall, because I feel like last year's department meeting went really well and that was helpful. I don't know if that sort of takes the place of the workshop. Or if you found benefit to the workshop in addition to it, if we have enough.
I think it's a harbinger. I mean, it's a holdover from the old days when we did this one town, one budget. It was very kind of inline process.
Yeah.
That we've moved significantly away from, and that's kind of the last vestige of that approach.
Yeah,
It's remarkable the success we've had over the last 3 budget cycles when we kind of stay apart and kind of do our thing. Results speak for themselves, it seems to me. I think
yeah,
part of that, we were always anxious about challenging, it was always challenging getting the budget approved.
Yep.
So, I'm not sure if that's why.
maybe, because I think there is a point in the budget, right, where our goals sort of, the paths sort of separate
Mhm.
a little bit. Maybe that's-
I think that, one thing we could do, I'm just looking at the schedule, because when will we have had the budget session with you guys?
I actually feel like our department meeting is after the workshop.
Look,
date.
it's on the other page.
So I
right there.
I think I have the one.
We're meeting with
They're
you guys.
Second to
on-
last, so it's a late May date.
We're May 10th for our
Right.
department meeting, and then the joint workshop is tentatively scheduled for the 4th.
That's right, and just so you know, the 4th is stacking up to be quite a meeting because we scheduled the joint, the audit
audit,
presentation that
yeah.
night as well. And then the council has a full council meeting that night, and of course, we skipped the second meeting in April, so that meeting might be a fairly full agenda for the council, just by virtue of skipping a meeting before.
I mean, I guess I try and think what that, like, what an agenda for a joint workshop would look like. I really don't see what it would be at this point.
Yeah, Don, you recall, I mean, in the past, there were big purchases, like one year was modulars to meet some immediate enrollment needs. That was kind of a very, I'll say, hot topic, just I think people were interested in how to respond to the need. Again, I just don't know if there's anything that rises to that level this year.
Will Kate have any updates at that time that might be relevant, that give some better,
You mean in terms of like insurance and
yeah, I
Things
meant
in
it's still be
motion.
too early.
Nope, I think that she will have updates, but I don't know if that was finalized, but I'm not sure it's anything that.
Okay.
A workshop discussion.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's worthy of a full, pulling both
Yeah.
bodies together just for that.
Mhm.
She could certainly provide those updates at the outset of their scheduled time.
Yeah, and then the audit, how long do you think that's gonna take to walk through that? Is that just more of a formal?
It usually takes them 20, 30 minutes tops, and there's the Q and A, so probably an hour is what we typically reserve. So John, I can talk to April, and perhaps she can put something out to the full council, and perhaps you can do it on your side to see if there's any members that have any thoughts or big issues that they'd like to use that workshop. And I might suggest if there really isn't, I'm not sure if it's necessary.
Can I read a recommendation?
I'm sure can.
Which you can slam. I'm just wondering, because not all of the council will have been able to probably participate in the building committee.
Yeah,
Would it make sense to give a brief update potentially? Or will it still be too early?
I'm trying to just think if we will be prepared for a comprehensive update that will have all the information that everybody in the council. needs.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
And there isn't anything in the budget
Mhm.
related to that project, so
How's the site selection process going? I see that. Fully participating in that process.
yes. Did you say, how is it going?
This is just like-
It's going.
It's going, it's going. Well, I mean,
I
we'll
think I
just
just
have,
want to make sure that we have everything, because there's a lot of, we needed to do a lot of work getting the historical stuff together and sort of all the background information on it.
Mhm.
Which I guess, I mean, we can do it then, but
might,
it sounds like you guys
Yeah,
are busy.
it might be
evening.
too soon. My gut says, Tom, just looking at the schedule again, like if we're doing the school department the day before at 5:30 to 7. I think we could do one of two things, potentially. We could either just cancel the workshop if April's willing and the rest of the council doesn't see it being necessary. And just make sure people know if they want to participate, that's a good time, if it's just the day before. Or we could even cancel that and use the workshop time.
Yeah,
Um,
the
that
only
would
thing
be
school
interesting.
related, Kristen, and maybe this is not something you're prepared for, because I think it may be this, some of the background work that you're pulling together is, I think there's value in doing a little remedial work. So much time has passed. And frankly, most of the sitting council weren't privy to the discussion, and probably a lot of your DOE as well, in terms of
The building.
the building decision, kind of the directional decision of the consolidated approach. I don't tell you what to do, but I think there's an important remedial piece that needs to be accomplished, just to make sure that everyone is kind of up on the same.
Totally agree. Yeah. If you guys want to use that date, I can certainly talk to Jeff about it and Andrew and see what they're thinking.
Let's first explore whether there's genuine, budget related issues that we should use that time for. If there are, maybe we can talk about how best to fill that time then.
Or just give it back to them and
Fair enough.
so we can always do I don't want to push or rush the building committee stuff until
Right.
Jeff, you guys and the chairs feel like they're ready, and I feel like there might need to be a couple more meetings at the committee level before bringing it forward. I just wasn't sure if it was something worth.
Yeah, I think in terms of like the information that the council needs to get up to speed on the project, and to your point, like the rest of the board, that exists. And I think Andrew knows it inside out and backwards. I don't think that that's really a question. I mean, I think we'd hope to like pull a document together that I think you've seen, because Lisa has started on that, whether that's in a good place to go, but I think Andrew could speak to it if he's available that
Okay.
day and you guys want to do it.
What do you think, Don? Any interest in just getting an update or?
Well, one thing that just occurred to me is just sort of like capital, school capital side. I had a question about what the track and the turf replacement. I don't know, there's nothing in here for that. So is that
That was in last year's.
Okay. Okay.
So it's getting spent. this
Current
year.
year.
Current
Yeah,
year.
sorry,
So we're
current
just-
year, yeah.
I see. So we're just.
FY22.
expensive.
They do have some challenges. I don't think I'm telling any secrets here, but their estimates are over the approved amount by the voters, so they're considering what their options are. Because obviously, the situation isn't improving itself.
Yeah.
So they may need to kind of move forward in phases to kind of address the turf first. That's one of their exploring all those options.
So how does that work from an accounting standpoint? So if it's put in a capital plan and then we expense it when we, how does that work? You're just paying the interest then?
Yeah, we don't borrow money until we often, within reason, will use our own cash on hand to be able to fund things, and we pay ourselves back on proceeds. So because things happen at all different times of the year, and the need for funds can vary. So depending on our cash flow or cash position, we're often able to advance money and then pay ourselves back with bond proceeds.
So there's no like, well, there's no limit on like when that money has to get bonded before the referendum becomes a ballot. Is there any?
No, I don't think voter approval, referendum approval ever lapses.
Okay.
You know, it will get stale at some point.
So curiosity, I don't know.
I mean, if there's a circumstance where the project envisioned for which voters supported doesn't proceed for some period of time, typically there's a full change of scope or change of circumstance such that arguably that approval probably isn't valid anymore because the project is different for whatever reason. But this sort of phased approach that they may need to take, at first blush, occurs to me to be consistent with the voter approval. It's just done in pieces as opposed to one project.
But the authorization carries forward if it's not
Correct. Yep.
not-
And that's a piece that I'll frankly need to circle back to council. We've got dozens of prior budget approvals, either at the council level or even voter approval, where funds still exist in the reserve for a project. Either the project's done, it's coming under budget, and we need to just kind of clean up all of those final amounts. It's a lot of chasing of numbers for Ruth and her team unnecessarily, so we need to close out some of those.
And that's just a budget reconciliation exercise. There's no like additional.
Yeah, the project's come or gone, or the project hasn't advanced. You know, I'll give you another example. Probably 10 years ago, the council approved about, in the budget, 1.2 million for sewer extension up to Running Hill Road.
Yeah.
That project's never advanced. We've never spent any money, we never bonded any money, but the budget approval still exists. And so that's one of those that I'm not sure if it will ever happen. So at some point, we'll come back to you and say, remove the budget approval. You know, it just doesn't make sense anymore. There's a bunch of housekeeping that we need to come back to.
So Thomas, just a related question to that. So from an accounting standpoint, if something's approved and say a budget department budget line, and there's a surplus at the end, what happens to that at the end of the fiscal?
Yeah, they're not fungible. I mean, particularly on the capital side, they must be used for the approved purchase. So
How about just basic expenditures?
there again, I've got some latitude as manager to shift within department. But I stay within division. I can't switch from planning to
I see.
police, but I can have some latitude within public safety as I need it.
And that's a charter obligation, or is that just an accounting principle?
I think it's probably the authorities rooted in charter. But often that's how we build fund balance. When at the end of the year, we don't spend all the monies that have been allocated.
It reversed on side.
The one exception to that, there will be certain carryovers that are approved at year end. These are projects that linger past the magical date at the end of the fiscal year. And they're committed but not yet spent. So those carryovers don't become fund balance. They stay reserved and available for that original intended purpose. And it won't come as a surprise. Department heads often want to carry as much of that unspent balance, and I have a year-end discussion with them. And in some cases, we'll agree that, yes, we need to carry this over because the project's not complete, or other cases, no, you can spend it, you don't need it.
Mhm.
Golden plated problem.
First world problems.
At our department meeting with you guys, do you intend to cover our CIP budget at that meeting or a new CIP?
So I think we're at least the way we've done it on the town side, we've asked them to include it as
Okay.
part of the conversation. So that way we can talk to it, but I think we'll do a deeper dive into the CIP overall in that CIP meeting. So I would say be
Or like
prepared.
amongst yourselves or also be prepared at the CIP?
Are we
Yeah.
inviting everyone to the CIP
I would
meeting?
say
or-
you should be there. I mean, I think
Okay.
that's where the final decisions will be made.
Yep.
With any changes, recommended changes to the CIP.
Okay.
But I would say while you're there, use the opportunity to address the CIP
Yeah.
request.
So our department meeting is a chance to give you all the
Yeah.
information
Yes.
on it.
Do we have the authority to, as the council, to address their CIP?
It's always been a bit of a discussion back and forth. I think it's been, I think they've been open to that level of specificity.
Okay.
Whereas in the operating budget, you really look at bottom line only.
Mhm.
Inevitably, to have a thoughtful discussion around budget priorities, you end up talking about specific
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Your
Mhm.
investments and what have you.
There's not,
Especially because we don't choose bonding and appropriating.
Right.
So
there's nothing that I recall looking at it that's like,
I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary.
No, I would say it's actually a trimmed down capital request. And they are actually using the capital reserve that was created with some of the last year-end extra GPA. You might recall, the council passed a budget with an understanding that additional funds were going to come from the state to support education, about $1 million.
Yep.
And I think the council passed a resolve saying if that happens, half goes to lower the tax rate, the other half goes to establish a school equipment reserve account, which they did. And they're funding 3 or 4 or 5 capital projects with that.
okay,
Do you want to do a reminder to the people in the virtual audience?
yep. So for those who are online or just came in, we are here for the budget roundtable to get any questions you have and to talk a little bit about the budget for this year. We have town council representation and the school board here in the room, as well as the town staff with the town manager and assistant town manager. So if you just joined and want to raise your hand in Zoom to ask a question or to offer a comment, feel free to raise your hand and we'll let you in. We haven't had much participation up to this point, so we were planning to depart at 7 o'clock if we didn't get any questions at the 7 o'clock hour. So looks like some people just joined. So if anybody would like to comment, feel free to raise your hand in Zoom and we'll let you in. And if you aren't able to ask a question today, or you're interested to see when other people participate, we still have 3 more sessions. We have one tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I believe. And then one on Saturday at 9:30, and that one's going to be at the Public Safety Building. And then our final roundtable is on Monday afternoon.
12:30
There we go.
on the 21st.
At 12:30 tomorrow, the 21st, and that's going to be here at council chambers as well, similar format. You can join via Zoom or you can come in person. Saturday, the 23rd at 9 a.m. in person at the Public Safety Building. So that one won't have hybrid or virtual participation. That one will be fully in person. And then Monday will be virtual only at 6:30. So that one will not be at a physical location, but just online via Zoom. So that's Monday, April 25th at 6:30 p.m. So if anybody that's on right now would like to offer a question or comment, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll close this roundtable and hopefully get some people to participate at the next couple. We'll give you 10 seconds to decide if you want to raise your hand. We're watching, waiting, hoping.
Going once.
Going. Countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, thank you to the school board for coming
Thanks for having us.
and to Don for the council and for town